All right, let's talk about CMMC Level 1. Specifically, let's talk about the single biggest reason why secure, well-intentioned companies fail their audit. And here's a hint. It has absolutely nothing to do with your firewalls or your antivirus software. It all comes down to one simple, powerful word: evidence.
This quote right here, this is the heart of everything we're going to cover. Your intentions, all the effort you've put in, the checklists you've ticked off, none of it really matters to an auditor. If you can't produce actual, tangible proof that a security control is working, then for the purposes of your assessment, it might as well not even exist.
And this leads us to a really critical concept, something I call the evidence trap. It's by far the most common reason we see genuinely secure organizations get a failing grade on their CMMC Level 1 assessment. What's so wild about this is that the failure is almost never a technical one. Most businesses, they have the right antivirus, the correct firewalls, proper user access policies. They are actually doing all the right things. The real problem, the trap, is that they fail to provide adequate proof. When the auditor finally sits down across from you and says, "Okay, show me," a lot of companies just freeze. They can talk a great game about their security, but they can't produce the hard evidence to back it all up.
So, what does an auditor actually mean when they ask for evidence? The definition is pretty straightforward, but the requirements are incredibly specific. Let's break down exactly what they're looking for.
Okay, pay really close attention to this definition. Evidence isn't just a policy you wrote a year ago. It has to be tangible proof. Proof that your controls are fully implemented, and this is the key part, actively working right now, just like you designed them to. Auditors are really looking for evidence in three distinct forms. First up is documentation. That's your written policies and procedures. Second is configuration proof. We're talking screenshots, settings, things that show how a system is set up. And third, and this is crucial, is operational validation. These are the logs and records that prove the control is actually working over time. You can't have one without the others. You really need all three. Understanding the theory is one thing, but seeing it in practice, that's a whole different ballgame. So let's look at the very real practical difference between evidence that's going to get you a pass and evidence that's going to get you a fail. Your proof has to cover all the key areas. Think about access control. You need to show current user lists. Or device security, with dashboards showing that all your endpoints are protected. And for account management, you need to have literal proof of employee offboarding. The same idea applies to things like protecting USB drives and having a clear incident response plan. It's always about showing, not just telling. So what makes a piece of evidence strong? Well, it's got 4 key characteristics. It absolutely has to be dated to prove it's recent. It should be role-specific whenever that applies. It needs to be repeatable, meaning you could generate it again if you had to. And most critically, every single piece has to be clearly tied to a specific CMMC control. Here's where the rubber meets the road. Weak evidence is just telling an auditor something like, "Oh, our vendor handles that," or showing them some old, undated screenshot. Strong evidence, on the other hand, shows the control in action. A dated screenshot of a firewall rule, a log file of a successful multi-factor login, or, hey, even a time-stamped photo of a locked server room door work. Let's quickly go over the mistakes you have to avoid. Please, don't just hand over a folder of random screenshots without any context. Don't gather all your evidence once and then just assume it's going to be good 6 months later. And whatever you do, do not rely on a vendor's marketing claims. You have to show the proof from your own systems. Always remember this quote: "An auditor's job is not to trust you, it's to verify." They're there to see the reality of your security posture, not to hear about your promises or your good intentions. Your evidence is your reality.
Okay, so knowing all that, how in the world do you prepare? The best way is to be methodical. We can organize this whole thing into a simple, actionable plan. Let's call it building your proof binder.
Here it is, your 4-step game plan. Step 1, create that binder. It can be a digital folder or a physical one, doesn't matter. It's going to house all your evidence. Step 2, map every single piece of proof directly to the specific CMMC control it satisfies. Step 3, validate it all internally. Have someone on your team play the role of the auditor and try to poke holes in your evidence. And finally, step 4, keep it current. Make sure your proof is recent and ready to go on assessment day. To wrap all this up, let's just put ourselves in the shoes of the person sitting on the other side of the table for a minute. Understanding the auditor's perspective is really the final key to success. At the end of the day, your goal is to make the auditor's job as easy as possible. A well-organized binder with every piece of evidence clearly mapped to a control, that doesn't just show you're compliant, it shows professionalism, and it just makes the entire process so much smoother for everyone involved.
Look, CMMC Level On is very, very achievable. Success isn't about buying a bunch of expensive new tools. It's all about preparation. An evidence-driven preparation, it removes risk for your business, it removes stress for your team, and it removes any doubt in the auditor's mind. So, I'll just leave you with this one final thought. When that auditor shows up, you really shouldn't have to say all that much. The one question you need to be able to answer before they even walk in the door is this: can your proof speak for itself?